It's one of the most beautiful parts of the country, and this weekend it's the home for IndyCar racing and Indy NXT by Firestone. One last time, we go racing today, crowning a champion and setting the stage for moves to IndyCar for several. Thanks for joining us today for the Indy NXT by Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey, where it is beautiful. The morning fog has burned off, and we're ready to go racing with temperatures right now in the high 50s up to the low 70s for IndyCar race time today. Starting with our coverage on NBC and Peacock at 2:30 Eastern Time, 3:25 green flag. First, it's the second half of a doubleheader weekend for Indy NXT. Kevin Lee, Charlie Kimball, and Georgia Henneberry with us today. We get to crown champion, Charlie.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's been a long, fun season in the Indy NXT by Firestone. There's been great racing all year, Kevin, and yesterday was no exception. I think we've got some highlights to see how yesterday's race rolled off.
First of two this weekend, Hunter McElroy had to win, had to hope that it went poorly for Christian Rasmussen. Rasmussen, the championship leader, up by 64 points, started on the outside in the black car. McElroy did what he needed to do, got the early jump, held off Rasmussen to start, and then really started to build a big gap as they fought throughout the field.
And Christian Rasmussen did exactly what he needed to do and consolidate his second place. Some wheel banging further back, put Louis Foster into the wall, ended his day early. Jacob Abel assessed a penalty for that contact. We've seen how this new paving at Laguna Seca has been fast and also treacherous. That line is so razor thin, you get off and pretty soon you find yourself in the gravel.
That was the first caution about midway through, and we had more. This was towards the end of the race with Jamie Chadwick and Nolan Siegel coming together.
Just a little misjudgment there from Nolan Siegel. Jamie Chadwick slowing up for turn 10. Contact left front to right rear. And we finished under yellow. Hunter McElroy bringing home the win. Christian Rasmussen putting both hands on the trophy. Not quite crowned a champion yet. That won't happen. Didn't happen yesterday.
But it essentially is happening in a matter of moments today. Hunter McElroy gets the win, his second of the season, to stay sort of mathematically alive. Rasmussen did what he needed to do. Great days for several, like another podium for Frost, Kiffin Simpson. Matthew Brabham continues to be the super sub. How about Victor Franzoni? His best finish since 2018. And others had disappointment with contact early in the race. We'll talk more about what happened yesterday throughout the day and get you set for race two, a matter of moments away. And we will know who the champion is with Rasmussen. 54 points are on offer. You already take away the point for the pole, which Rasmussen gets, so it's essentially done. Let's go downstairs for more with Georgia Henneberry.
Well, Christian Rasmussen, all he has to do is pull away to start this race, and he will be crowned your 2023 Indy NXT by Firestone champion. And as he pulls away, he'll be running this race knowing that he is the 2023 champion. Led the field for most wins, most top 10s, most laps led. It's been dominance from Rasmussen and HMD Motorsports. So not crowned champion quite yet, but he is well on his way.
And now he can really start to talk. It's been going on for a while because he's been leading the championship for a little while. But what are the options out there for IndyCar for 2024? We've had some confirmations here in the last couple of weeks. Some other things are closed. Here are some of the somewhat official and somewhat unofficial open seats. Now, the Andretti 29 may or may not run, so that's not a definite. Yuri Vips is showing very well in the 30, but that's not confirmed. The 20 is wide open. Dale Coyne Racing's two cars are open. It's a little bit foggy with Juncos Hollinger Racing. We think Callum Ilott is going to return to the 77. We hear differing reports on the contractual status there, so we'll wait for that. And they'd like to have Augustine Canapino is back as well. The 14 for A.J. Foyt is not confirmed, but I know Dylan Welch talked with Larry Foyt and Santino yesterday, and they are getting close to something there.
I know they wanted to confirm that 14 car pretty soon, but a lot of these team owners, I talked to Ed Carpenter, and he was saying, I want to wait till after the season, catch my breath, take stock. That 20 seat, it's a really sought after seat alongside very fast Renus VK. They run incredible cars on the ovals. That third car for Ed Carpenter, being able to fill that seat, take a little time, get the right driver.
18 young drivers are strapped in. We're just about ready to fire them up from WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca.
Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey, race number 2. Mid-Atlantic Division Sales Manager for Dealer Tire, Holly Morgan.
Drivers, start your engines!
One more time in 2023, all that matters today is winning. Yes, an opportunity to improve your championship standing, but the championship is going to be decided in a matter of moments, and here is what we're facing in beautiful Monterey, California today.
This place is such a challenge for drivers, for engineers. There's huge elevation changes, includes the most famous corner in all of racing, that corkscrew, 180 feet from the start line all the way up to the top of that hill. That Andretti hairpin is a never-ending left-hander. It seems to have 2, 3, 5, sometimes 10 apexes. Goes on, really puts the strain on those drivers' left side of their neck. Turn 6 is uphill, blind, over a crest. We saw it come to blows yesterday. Louis Foster, Jacob Abel disagreeing through that compression right in the middle, but momentum's key. Up the Rahal straight to this corkscrew. It is hard. You start on the left, you brake to the right, you turn in, you aim for a tree on the horizon, and you feel like you come off a hill, drive off the side of a mountain, and accelerate down through the rainy curve.
Pace laps are underway. Let's find out how they're starting. It is a separate qualifying session from yesterday that happened right after the first qualifying session. This is a flip-flop of the front row. Christian Rasmussen gets his 5th pole of the season. Hunter McElroy looking for win number 3.
On row 2, Louis Foster had that coming together with Jacob Abel. It's been feast or famine for him this year. He's been so fast, just needs a little more consistency to be higher up in the championship. Reese Gold, a previous race winner, outside of row 2.
Solid day for row 3 yesterday. Kiffin Simpson finished 4th. Daniel Frost came home 3rd.
Matthew Bradden, that super sub for Juncos Hollinger Racing inside of row 4. Great result yesterday. Jacob Abel looking to rebound and get a solid result for the offseason.
In row 5, James Rowe is one of those that is not set in the championship. He could move up to 6th. He could fall to 8th. And Yuvan Sundamoorthy also getting another go today, finishing up his partial rookie season.
Christian Bogle continuing to make progress inside of row 6. Spent some time in the dirt yesterday, and Nolan Siegel, our early season points leader, looking to keep learning and get ready for another season, hopefully next year.
Another driver moving up from USF Pro 2000, Kiko Porto in his 3rd start, had contact yesterday. Francesco Pizzi, same situation for him. He finished 12th yesterday.
Row 8's a couple of rookies with Jagger Jones building on that Cape Motorsports return to the INDY NXT Series. And Jamie Chadwick continuing to make progress throughout the season. Her day finished early yesterday.
Another good day for Ernie Francis Jr., who always moves forward in the Force Indy car. He finished 7th. And Victor Franzoni has been driver coaching, doing a little sports car racing, but nothing like this. Really good result for him yesterday, 6th for Juncos Hollinger Racing. And here is the winner from yesterday, Hunter McElroy. Georgia, tell us more.
No secret that Hunter McElroy had a dominating performance yesterday, but today he told me, I wish it was like that all the time. The car was perfect. Yesterday the team was actually telling him to slow down and conserve, and he told them, I'm already at 80%, so today he's going to roll off 2nd and try to repeat.
Time for Kimball's Keys.
You know, we're crowning a champion. This is about a celebration of Christian Rasmussen's efforts all year. He gets to enjoy this one from the point, hopefully go out and pick up another win. And it's the last chance for these drivers to prove a point. If it's to INDY NXT team owners for a ride next year, or potentially for IndyCar team owners for a ride into the future.
Winning is all that matters up front. It's set for Rasmussen. He can go after it today after a conservative approach yesterday. Rasmussen in the black HMD car for Andretti. It's Hunter McElroy, the white car, starting on the outside. They'll get it going after the next corner. One more time in 2023, it's WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna, Seca, as we see the green flag. Christian Rasmussen is the 2023 INDY NXT champ. Let's go for Monterey.
Great start for Louis Foster. Hunter McElroy having to go the long ways around to hold on to that 2nd place. Louis Foster on the inside through the Andretti hairpin. Wheel to wheel for those Andretti teammates. Louis Foster gets the position.
Foster up to 2nd, side by side back there. McElroy is battling with Reese Gold. McElroy will prevail for now.
Passing is such a premium here at WeatherTech Raceway. Everyone knows the starts and any potential restarts are the best chance. Christian Rasmussen streaking away out front.
He's going to be tough to catch today with no concerns about being conservative. Starting from the point, let's see if anybody can catch him. We know McElray is fast, starting in second today. Plenty to be decided throughout the field. Final chance to leave the season on a positive. Back at the back, you see Jagger Jones trying to make a move on Victor Franzoni.
3 wide into the corkscrew. Jagger Jones locks up. That is not the corner you go 2 wide, sometimes 3 wide. Doesn't usually work.
He got 2 in one corner. He did the same thing yesterday at one point. Well done by Jagger Jones trying to move forward. That American Legion and Ridgeline car is Kiffin Simpson we see. And there is Francesco Pizzi trying to make a move on Rowe, but couldn't hang on to it. The blue and white Topcon car maintains that position.
James Rowe's experience there doing the over-under as we see Hunter McElray going by Louis Foster into the Andretti hairpin, taking back that position he lost on the start.
We know McElray is fast. He got it back. The Andretti teammates there, second and third. Good start for Gold in fourth. Same for Simpson, running in fifth. Daniel Frost, Jacob Abels made up a spot. Matthew Brabham, Yuven Sundamorthy in ninth. That's a good start for Yuven. He's picked up a spot. Here's Kiffin Simpson going to the inside of Reese Gold.
Reese Gold thinking about coming back, again doing that over-under move up into turn 6, not able to get the momentum, and here comes Daniel Frost now with Reese Gold in his sights.
Frost trying to get to fifth. Not this time through the corkscrew. What a fantastic shot. I never tire of that one.
It gives me goosebumps, having driven it, raced in it, in an Indy car. It is such an incredible racetrack. The repaving, they've done such a nice job. Such great grip.
Brabham on Abel there. Can he hang on to it? Yes, Matthew Brabham picks up seventh.
The wily super sub getting the move done on Jacob Abel. There's some points championship standings implications in play here. Louis Foster, as it runs, would overtake Nolan Siegel for third in the championship. I know he's got that in mind, but a lot of this is just about pride and the last race of the year, because if you have a good day, the offseason seems a whole lot shorter than if you have a bad day.
If you're trying to impress supporters too, everyone needs the financial backing to find an opportunity, and this is the last chance to leave the season with some momentum.
Christian Rasmussen just disappearing 2 3/4 seconds up the road now.
Peasy taking a look on Rowe again. He looks quick. He was super fast at the Rolex 24 this year. Part of the LMP2 winning class. His first year racing in American USF Pro 2000. And now has made the step up to try to prepare for a full season next year. Georgia.
Well, Kevin, you talk about trying to impress for next year, and that's exactly what Daniel Frost is doing. He started the season with a win, has been trying to get back to that top spot since, but he's had a strong showing these last few weeks, including a fifth at Worldwide Technology Raceway, third at Portland, and now a third yesterday. So looking onward, he says there's some positive talks in the works, and ultimately would love to be driving in the NTT IndyCar Series, but nothing concrete yet. He did test an IndyCar with Coyne last October and is hoping to end the season on a high note with 3 podiums in a row.
And I know that Dale Coyne was super impressed with the job that Daniel Frost did in his car at that test at Sebring last year. Couldn't quite make a deal come together for this year, but everyone has tipped him for a future IndyCar seat, potentially next year, maybe the year after.
So here's my unofficial list of the drivers that I think are getting realistic conversations done right now about moving up. Certainly the champion, Christian Rasmussen. Hunter McElray, I believe, is having positive conversations. Louis Foster is having some, but he's very open to returning to Indy next season as well, but I think he's on people's radar. Kiffin Simpson is a Ganassi development driver, and it's possible they decide to go ahead and move up next year and expedite his learning curve. That is TBD. Frost, Georgia mentioned. Brabham has had some talks with people before. I think Jacob Abel's going to do another season in Indy next season, and Nolan Siegel has had some talks, but he's also opening to return next year. And I think those are the ones that are being talked about for now to go along with the competition for all of the drivers in the IndyCar world looking for seats, drivers from the Formula One ladder as well. So always more quality drivers.
Broadcast booth that may be looking to get back in a cockpit. All of those conversations.
Only some, not all. We actually do have another one here in the booth that would like to be talked about. Probably more for 2025 as we see Kiffin Simpson and Reese Gold come together. Gold goes around, Simpson keeps going. Gold is going to lose track time and position. Can he get it going again?
Get it going, get it going.
Kiffin Simpson with the move inside into turn 5 there.
Get it fired up.
And they do have onboard starters.
We get a replay here. A late move, Kiffin Simpson's inside, but not quite far enough along. On those are teammates coming together. Full 360 for Reese Gold. They have onboard starters, but if it's not going to start because he's on that hill and able to get it going, they'll have to go yellow.
They only have another corner or so before they would have to throw a yellow. The leaders are coming through turn 3. He's up the hill, exit of turn 5. Can we stay green as Rasmussen hits turn number 4? We go yellow at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca for the stalled car of Reese Gold after contact with Kiffin Simpson. And now he gets going. Oh, missed it by 5 seconds.
Well, if I'm cynical, it took just a second for everything to cool down, the starter to cool off a little bit, fire the engine. But this is exactly what Reese Gold needs because he's going to catch up and be at the back of the field.
He needed that yellow.
He needed his own yellow.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's a little more Machiavellian than anyone is thinking at this moment.
Well, that gives us a chance for a restart and a reset, and that was probably the only way anyone was going to have a chance to catch Christian Rasmussen. All right, I mentioned, hey, 2025, never too soon. That's getting ahead of ourselves. Let's talk 2023 into 2024. Joining us now in the booth is the newly crowned USF Pro 2000 champion with Force Indy, Miles Rowe. Welcome, congratulations again.
Thank you, Kevin. It's a pleasure, real pleasure to be here.
This is so cool for those of us that have watched your progress. I think I was at one of your very first tests in a USF Pro 2000 or USF 2000 car. So I've seen your development from where you were 3 years ago or so to where you are now. What has that progress been like?
Yeah, man, it's just been such a growing process for not only me but for everyone, for Force Indy, Penske Racing, Paps Racing. We've all grown a lot together, and we've become a family now, and it's just been amazing for me to grow as a person and to see the team grow, and for us to connect and become more one. And yeah, like 2021 was really tough for us. We did get our first win in our first ever season as a team and as a driver in the series, and we just grew even more. In 2022, we finished runner-ups in the 2022 USF 2000 championship, and we took that confidence and we turned it into consistency to win the 2023 USF Pro 2000 championship.
We'll talk with you more throughout this telecast today. Kiffin Simpson has to fall to the back for avoidable contact with Reese Gold, so that's why you see him dropping back. We're going to restart next time by. Reese Gold, by the way, looks like he rolled through pit lane. He is exiting turn 3, so he's still about a half a lap behind, and we'll have to do some catching up, and we are going green this time by Rasmussen, McElray, Foster, Frost, Brabham, the top 10, then Abel, Rowe, Peasy, Sunworthy, and Siegel, and it is green again at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Does McElray, does Foster, does anyone have anything for the champion-elect Christian Rasmussen, who takes off already 3 car lengths as they head up the hill?
Louis Foster got a great jump out of turn 11, looking at making a move on Hunter McElray. It'll be all Andretti into the Andretti hairpin. Not able to get it done. Hunter defending too wide further back.
Rasmussen by 5 car lengths. McElray held off Foster this time.
It was exactly what Christian Rasmussen wanted. He wanted Hunter McElray looking in his mirrors instead of thinking about passing Christian up front, as Nolan Siegel defending from Ernie Francis Jr. and Jagger Jones into turn 5.
Keep an eye on Kiffin Simpson back there as well. We know he's quick.
Nolan Siegel got loose out of 5. Ernie had a great momentum. Here comes Jagger Jones into the corkscrew. Daniel Frost on Matthew Brabham. Again, corkscrew is not a place I like to pass. It's very narrow, very tight.
Brabham is getting after it right now in that green and black car. Abel is right there behind him, ready to pounce in the red and white Abel construction car. James Rowe behind him in 7th. That's the blue car. And then another red and white Abel car. Francesco Pizzi is also in the mix there, running in 8th. The black and yellow car is Yuvan Sundamore, the Wisconsin student. Kiko Porto working on Victor Franzoni back there as well. So we'll continue to watch this battle while we continue to talk with Miles Rowe, who had his Indy NXT seat confirmed in the last week. You get to move up to HMD, still working with Force Indy. What is that thought process like? These are big-time race cars you're going to get to drive next year.
Yeah, Kevin, these race cars are no joke. This is the real deal. We're in the IndyCar, the true IndyCar ladder now, and these drivers, I think people don't understand how good these drivers are. I mean, they have the skill to compete in the levels of Formula 2 and Formula 1 just as, I mean, they're the same level as any incredible racing driver out there. It's just seats are so limited, you know, and time is so limited, and it's just such a blessing to be able to be upon such a great group of drivers. I'm excited to learn a lot. I'm going to be a sponge next year. And yeah, I'm going to mesh really well with HMD and then the whole team. I saw them yesterday and got to meet everybody and kind of start to get adjusted with them before testing. And yeah, I'm just super excited to see where we can go with this program.
Ernie Francis Jr. is trying to pick up a spot on Yuvan Sundamore there and cannot get it done. Georgia, tell us more about the driver running in 3rd right now, Louis Foster.
Absolutely. I caught up with Louis Foster a little bit earlier today before the race, and he said the biggest thing for him right now is just ending this season on a high note. He tells me he feels like this season has been a bit bittersweet and very up and down. So his plan this race is to lay back where he is and where he started in 3rd and just try to pounce towards the end of the race, but ultimately just ending this season on a high note.
Consolidating a little bit, he has shown incredible speed. 2 wins, Mid-Ohio and Portland, but some real heartbreak, having contact with his teammate in Detroit, contacted a few other races, and you know, when he finishes really well. But when he doesn't finish or it doesn't go really well, he ends up a long ways back. And with 18 cars on the grid, it's a much bigger point detriment than a couple of years ago.
Louis Foster was last year's USF Pro 2000 champion, like Miles Rowe is this year. I don't know that you really surprised people this year. I think a lot of people expected it to go really well for you. The big year in my mind was last year. That's when you started winning a lot of races in your 2nd year at USF 2000. What was that transition like to, and what did that do for your mental standpoint when you consistently ran up front, led the championship for a lot of the year?
Yeah, I would say you're correct, Kevin. I think everyone knew I was going to be quick this year, but in 2022 it was sort of unexpected because we only won one race in 2021 and we didn't podium at all. It was just one podium and that was the race win. And so that was coming 4 years not being in the seat in 2021. So it was simply experience. Experience is the best teacher. It gives you that exam and then it teaches you the lesson. And that's exactly what happened in 2021. I got the test and then I understood where my mistakes were. I understood where I can grow and where I can be better and what my weaknesses and strengths were, and I brought that to 2022, and yeah, we saw what happened.
Let's tell people your background. What was your racing before you got the chance with Penske Entertainment, starting in that 2020 fall testing situation? How long had it been since you've been in a car? What was your car experience?
Yeah, the last time I was in a car before 2021 was in 2017, and that was the Lucas Oil Formula Series. And I didn't run the full series. I was blessed that they had a Winter Series championship within their full championship, which consisted of 3 events, 6 races, and I won 3 out of 6 of those races and won that Winter Series championship. Singular reason why I was able to compete in 2021 with Force Indy because of that championship that I won. Without Champion Auto Parts, you know, sponsoring me in order to get me to the Lucas Oil Formula Series to even compete in the minimal races I did, I wouldn't be here. So a big thanks to Champion Spark Plugs for that. And yeah, other than that, that was the only car racing I did. It was just, you know, little go-kart races here and there. never completed a full season in actual go-karting besides my indoor championship in 2012.
Wow. Let's check in with Georgia.
Well, right now, Jagger Jones started in that 15th position up to 11th, and as we know, the Jones family legendary around open wheel racing, but his father PJ actually finished 3rd in the Indy NXT race here at Laguna Seca in 1989, and his uncle Paige made his only Indy NXT start of his career at Laguna Seca in 1991, and he finished 9th. So Jagger Jones is out here keeping that family legacy going and moving up the field.
So you raced against Jagger last year. He won a race in USF 2000. You could probably speak to this. He made the jump skipping USF Pro 2000. How difficult do you think this is and has been?
Oh, Jagger's a star player, Kevin. He's really doing well for the experience he has because, like you said, he skipped USF Pro 2000. And the point of that middle line between USF 2000 and the Indy NXT series is you actually get to really work with downforce. You get to really work with heavier braking, stronger braking, higher speed corners. And the thing is USF 2000, you don't really get a lot of those attributes and get to really hone in on them and perfect them and make them better. And in Indy NXT, the downforce is huge, the braking is huge, the tires are huge, it's all bigger, it's really close to an Indy car. I was talking to Joseph Newgarden yesterday, and he was telling me how it's such a good program for the Indy car because it's really not that far off in terms of what they're doing. I heard that the qualifying times here with the new pavement is the same times they were running an Indy car last year.
Yep.
So it's a crazy step that he made, and he's doing incredible for that step.
Agreed.
And not just Jagger Jones, but Cape Motorsports as well, coming back to Indy NXT. It's hard for a team to get back on their feet and figure things out. You know, going to the Firestone tire, I think, was one of the reasons they did that. And they've done a really good job, and I think we all expect big things for them next year. And you'll be racing against them and Jagger, hopefully all season in Indy NXT. And we see Jacob Abel here running in 5th. You know, I said earlier, I don't like to go side by side in the corkscrew. It makes me nervous. Jacob Abel with a great pass on Daniel Frost around the outside, doing it the hard way up the hill into the corkscrew. You see, coming up the hill, Frost defends, and Abel just smokes it in full send, goes around the outside, clears him, doesn't have to go through the gravel a la Zanardi, gets the pass done, and is now running in 5th. Jacob Abel has grown a lot this year. I think with a couple of different situations, he might be a race winner this year, but we see Victor Franzoni with a problem in turn 6. Looks like he went off through the gravel.
My safety's very bad.
Or is it a mechanical something else? I could not understand his message. I did understand very bad.
We got a replay here.
Oh, that might be why there's an issue.
It's a long ways off in the dirt track. There is way less grip in the dirt than on the pavement. That is confirmed.
Well, there's a lot of less grip just outside of the main groove. I think Scott McLaughlin said yesterday.
Yeah, but when I try to keep stop, it doesn't go sometimes.
He said it's like a train track, meaning if you get off just a little bit, it's big trouble. The white line is very treacherous. So what do you think of this place, Miles? You ready to race here next year?
I'm stoked, Kevin. This place, you know, you run it on Gran Turismo, you run it on iRacing. This place is legendary. I mean, the elevation, I love tracks with elevation. It's my favorite style of driving. I grew up driving at Atlanta Motorsports Park in Georgia, and there's so much elevation. There's so much to the fact where your cart actually gets air over one of the crests. So I grew up, you know, learning to drive elevated tracks, and so I'm so excited to, you know, get some stomach drops through the corkscrew next year.
Well, and Miles, I was going to ask you, you did such a great job to win the USF Pro Championship, get that scholarship, move up to Indy NXT next year with HMD. You know, it didn't go quite as well at Portland last year. How did it feel to have that vindication, celebrate those championships with Augie Pabst? I've known Augie for 20 plus years in racing, and to see the tears of joy on his face was so great for so many people in the paddock that have worked with Augie and his history through his family. How'd that feel to be able to help deliver that multiple championships to Pabst Racing this year?
Yeah, Augie Pabst is one of the best guys in the paddock I've ever met, and it doesn't take you very long to realize such. And his program is just phenomenal. It's a Penske Racing down in the USF Pro Championships at Pabst Racing, and he put so much blood, sweat, and tears, not only him, but his whole family, Katie Paps and Gucky, and Maddie Paps, and then also the whole Paps family, the whole crew. They put so much effort and care and passion into it, and they never won a Drivers' Championship. They never won a Drivers' Championship before this year, so it was just really important for me last year to try to do it, which is why it was so crushing for us, because we've won multiple team championships before, but what made it incredibly special this year was not only did I win the Drivers' Championship, but Simon Sykes won the Drivers' Championship as well. And not only did we do that, but both of our programs, USF 2000, USF Pro 2000, took the team championship away. So we totally sweeped USF Pro 2000 this year and all the programs that Augie has. And like you said, the tears of joy was just, it made my year. That's all I wanted all year, was to give it to him and his family.
See James Rowe running in 7th in that blue Top Con car right in front of Peasy and Francis. Some recent radio communication with the 2019.
Need to work on turn 8, probably braking. Make sure we're getting close to the 3. Get more to the right before you turn in.
How much communication do you get in the USF Championships? Is there a lot of coaching during the race, or is that mostly done in between races and sessions?
That's a very good question, Kevin. It all depends on the driver. It all depends on the engineer talking to you. For me, I like it very quiet in the car. You know, I like the focus, only the information necessary. For other drivers, they like you.
Whoa, Zanardi try there. Didn't work as well for him. That's the shortcut, but
Easy trying to go around James Rowe. You know, we just heard that radio communication. Is Ernie Francis thinking into turn 10? That is a low probability maneuver.
And that front wing is a little bit damaged for the 55 Able Motorsports car. Let's go back and see that again. We saw it coming through the corkscrew.
On the outside, not able to get the move done like Jacob Abel did. And right there, it digs into the asphalt, that left front corner of that wing on the 55 car for Peasy. Again, one of his first 2 races, his 3rd race here at the Indy NXT. Now, this is not an easy racetrack to come to. Despite the laps on Gran Turismo and iRacing, you get here and it's a very different animal.
I wondered if you might consider doing Indy NXT this weekend to prepare. The more I watch this, I think you probably made the right choice. Let's go and get a full testing program together and be ready for your first race.
Yeah, Kevin, it was one of those gut feelings where, like everyone's saying, there's such a groove here, almost like a rain line. So making mistakes, like trying different things on the track, experiencing, you know, different brake points, different, you know, input points for your steering, different lines. It doesn't come as simple as most other tracks do. And the gravel, you can get beached so fast here. A practice session can end so quickly for you here. So trying to make that learning curve faster here, it's very likely that you can hurt yourself even more and hurt your confidence for the next year. So it was very important for us collectively to make sure that we just keep things simple and not try to do anything extra, because we know that my adaptability is there. I can learn very fast, so there's no huge pressure to run in this race.
We are past the midpoint of the season finale in Indy NXT by Firestone. Christian Rasmussen just needed to roll off the grid today. He has clinched the championship and is controlling this race. It's year number 2 at this level for Rasmussen. After finishing 6th as a rookie, he spoke about what's been different this year to move forward to win that championship.
I think the biggest change from last year is just kind of taking it a notch down a little bit. Like, I was very 110% all of last year, and that got me a few wins, but it also got me a few crashes as well. So I think learning from that and going into this year, just being more consistent, trying to get the best possible out of the car every single weekend. Sometimes that's a win, but sometimes that's also a 3rd place or a 5th place. So it's just about always getting the most out of the car and finishing races, really.
Yeah, and I've definitely seen that from Christian this year so far. If he had the car to win, he went out and won. But if he only had the car to finish 2nd, he went out and got 2nd or 3rd or 4th or whatever that was. And when the luck kind of fell his way a little bit, he took advantage of it. When qualifying got rained out at Iowa and he started up front, he never looked back, held on just by 50 feet in the last corner to get the win, but he did what he needed to get those 50 points. And so he was really consolidated. And I worked with him a little bit last year as a consultant and did some mentoring with him. And he was, there were times I thought, man, just take a breath. You've got all the speed in the world, just let it come. And this year he's really grown into that ethos and that mentality. You know, as previous champion in USF 2000, USF Pro 2000 coming up into Indy NXT, he needed that maturity, and it's really helping.
4 seconds the gap for Rasmussen on McElroy. Another 3 seconds back to Louis Foster. Brabham is up to 4th. Abel in 5th. Jagger Jones back there working on Euban Suttonworthy for 11th. And Jagger is going to try to throw it around the outside.
That was a big send on the brakes for Jagger Jones, but that long way around. It used to work when the pavement was slippery and the line was wider. Not so much anymore with this really fast new paving. It's been nearly 30 years since they repaved this racetrack, and it's 5 seconds a lap faster. These guys qualified the same speed that Indy cars were doing around here last year. So the physicality, the speed, the load, but that line is so narrow. You get offline and there's no rubber. It's all dust, and you see people, we've seen a lot of red flags for cars going off just because they missed the apex by a little bit.
Well done by Euban to maintain that position in 11th right now. Let's go downstairs to Georgia.
Well, Mike Marini of HMD Motorsports here with me. First and foremost, congratulations. You guys are champions in the Indy NXT by Firestone. But yet again, this team expanded to 9 cars this year, and it had to have been a challenging year from that perspective as well. So the highs and the lows, you put it all together to come out with a championship. What was this year like for you as you reflect back?
Just like I said to Ryan early on IndyCar Radio, it's a total team effort. I mean, Henry and Diva give us the tools that we need to compete. AJ manages the program in the shop pretty well. I deal with the parents and the families and the business side of it. So it's a total team effort when it comes down to it. So it's not just Christian winning this championship, but it's all of us.
AJ said you're working hard towards the 2024 season. Are there any little tidbits of information you can give us looking into the season?
Miles Rowe's with us. That's the only one I can give right now. But there's some more announcements on the horizon coming, and yeah, we hope we can put together another strong lineup and try and go for back-to-back championships next year.
We'll be looking forward to those announcements. Miles Rowe in the booth with us right now. Miles, a little shout out for you.
And Mike said that he expected to be similar. He's not going to say a definitive number, whether it's 7, 8, or 9 cars, but he said it's going to be in that ballpark. And like we talked about yesterday, they have proven they can do it. They have delegated responsibility, kind of broke it up into 2 4-car programs, and yeah, the results show that it's working pretty well.
And Don Lambert of Andretti Global next year, representing some of their international interests that Andretti Autosport is evolving into Andretti Global, told me they expect to run about 4 cars as well, and maybe some returning faces, but definitely some new faces as well. And I know Hunter McElroy here consolidating his 2nd in the championship. Yesterday's win, he felt like he could have earned some more wins this year, and that might have made the championship closer coming into this final doubleheader. But he's thinking it's time to move on. If that's moving up to IndyCar, he's had some really good conversations, or doing some other sports car racing, things elsewhere. He's got a great family lineage in motorsports and wants to continue to do that.
Miles Rowe is joining us in the booth. He will be in the Indy NXT grid next season. Before we talk to Miles again, let's hear the 27.
We could use push to pass on the pit straight every lap until the end here if you wanted it. 13 to go.
Question I was going to ask you next, Miles. Were you a student of the sport? Have you worked to become more of a student? Meaning, are you really paying attention to what other racing series are doing or what other drivers are doing, especially those that are further advanced than you?
Yeah, Kevin. I study the sport constantly, and I think a lot of my success, interestingly enough, came from when I was 12, 13, and 14. Through my other interests and responsibilities over where I live in New York City, I don't necessarily look into too much of the sport as much, especially like over in Europe like I used to. But when I was younger, I used to watch all the CIK, FIA karting races, all the WSK karting races. Actually, in fact, I only really studied the Europeans when I was growing up. people like Nick DeVries, people like Guan Yu Zhou, people like George Russell, Charles Leclerc. I mean, you can go on and on with these names that I looked at. Ben Barnicoat, even Callum Islat, and Christian Lundgaard. I used to look at when I was younger, when they were racing go-karts in these series, and it was basically where I learned a lot of my driving style from. And so I still look towards those series today to see if I can find anyone new, anyone that's inspiring and a little bit different that I might learn from. And yeah, it's super important to look at what those guys over there are doing, because it's weird how they have a different style, but it's true. The way they race is different. I mean, you can tell, like people like Liram Zindelli and Francesco Pizzi, who we see here on screen. You can tell when they're around you on the track, they drive different with a different aggression and a little bit of a different mentality compared to like someone like maybe a James Rowe or a Nolan Siegel. And it's just how they grow up. It's just different culture. And so I love, looking into that and learning from that and taking what I can.
I should also mention to people, you're not just a student of racing, you have been a student. You are one of the few college graduates that we have trying to make their way to IndyCar. Tell us about your education and what you got done at Pace University.
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, I wasn't racing for 4 years, from 2017 to 2021, and so I went to Pace University in New York, in Manhattan, which is located right next to the Brooklyn Bridge. I studied and majored in film and screen studies, and I'm super passionate about filmmaking and photography. I want to be a director when I grow up, a director of photography. I want to create and make movies.
And James Rowe has gone around. We heard the squeal and wondered who it was, and James has seen a 7th place potential result go away and is going to fall all the way to the back. Okay, go ahead and continue.
And so it did a lot for me, not only just when I was learning how to create films and learning how to, use almost like my left side brain versus right side brain sort of a thing, but it taught me how to be creative and have my own style on the track, and I was able to take those things and mix them in with how I approach motorsports and how I drive, and it makes you look at things differently. I mean, everyone has their own line out there. There is the preferred line, but I mean, it's a whole creative process almost. It's a different way of thinking. The engineer is creating a certain style for the car that you have to drive. You are driving it in a certain style, and all of that, while it seems everyone's trying to get to a singular thing, everyone has their own independent, creative way of setting up the car and driving the car and creating this project, which is the 35 laps of, or however many laps of whatever track they're on. And it's just, there's so many similarities. It's crazy. And yeah, in the moment, I couldn't watch racing when I was out for 4 years. It literally made me depressed and sad because I just couldn't find a seat, and I knew I was talented and could excel if I had a racing seat, but I couldn't watch racing because I couldn't find a seat. And I am happy for that now, looking back on it, because I grew so much in that process and learned a lot more about myself. And the way I look on the world is just incredibly different than I did before that, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, thanks to Penske Entertainment's Race for Equality and Change, Miles Rowe has had that opportunity. Came this close to winning USF 2000 championship and scholarship last year, has won it this year and in USF Pro 2000, and is moving up to Indy next season.
And special shout out to Will Power as well. I think he has been an integral part of your career, sort of talent spotted you and mentioned it to the Penske Entertainment Group, and he was one of the first to congratulate you on your championship last weekend. And there will be many, including Kevin and I, congratulations on your championship. We look forward to calling your races next year.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie, thank you, Kevin, and yeah, especially thank you, Will, Liz Power, Roger Penske, Force Indy, Augie Paps.
Thanks to Miles Rowe. We look forward to seeing him in these races next year here on Peacock. You can go enjoy the rest of the day and hang out and get set to watch IndyCar racing. Black flag on the 55. You see that wing is in peril of coming off for Francesco Pizzi, so he, I believe, is going to need to pit the next time by, and there he is. He's going to slow down. He's going to simply get out of the way. Very sporting for Francesco, and he'll roll down pit lane here coming up the next opportunity he has.
And you can see that front wing, that half is folded over. The real issue with race control is if that wing folds back, locks up the steering, and Francesco Pizzi isn't able to make a corner. You know, this damage comes from that outside attempt, the pass attempt on James Rowe into the corkscrew, and as he comes down the hill, that front wing digs into the pavement, breaks that main plane off. He'll have to come in and get that front wing replaced. We also saw some damage a little further back from Kyffin Simpson. He's got a slightly weakened front wing as well there on the other side, the right side of the main plane for Kyffin Simpson. But really impressively, Reese Gold has the second fastest lap and is driven back up to the field. Remember, he had that contact, got spun by Kyffin Simpson earlier on. When the restart happened, he was about 10-15 seconds behind the field and has driven up to the back of the train now and is right on the back of Jamie Chadwick. He won that race in Detroit. It's really, after his move from Jokos Hollander over to HMD earlier in the year, has really started to consolidate his experience. He was the Pro 2000 Championship runner-up last year to Louis Foster. Doing a really good job this year, and I hope he comes back for a second season of Indy next year, because he's really grown this year, and I expect more out of him next year. Reese Gold thinking about the outside move into the corkscrew on Jamie Chadwick. Gets really tight there, gets pushed out onto the paint.
I wanted to peek in on points as they run right now, because there are still some battles to be decided. James Rowe going around there just fell back into a tie with Reese Gold for that 7th position in the championship. One of them that was in play today was 4th, and Louis Foster is ahead of Jacob Abel. If Abel had finished in front by a certain number of positions, he could have moved up to 4th in the championship. And then there was an opportunity potentially for Foster to move up to 3rd, but Siegel is having a solid day running in 7th. So for the moment, and it's not done yet, but that is still something in play as we head down to the final 6 laps of the season. Georgia.
Well, you mentioned Nolan Siegel. He's had a strong season up until the last couple races here, and he would say that he told me that the second half of the season he'd be lying if he didn't say he was disappointed in the results, but then reflected by saying, no matter what, it's a positive that I'm disappointed because it means we set the bar high earlier in the season. Nonetheless, 2 wins in his rookie Indy NXT Firestone season, and he's made a name for himself in the process. Nolan's 2024 plans are a bit up in the air. He said he's likely to come back to Indy NXT with HMD, but nothing is confirmed yet. But in the offseason, he's going to be running some GT4 events, but ultimately hopes to be back in Indy NXT next year.
Yeah, we'll probably see Nolan later on this year on Peacock in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship or the Michelin Pilot Challenge, which, by the way, both race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway next weekend. So join us on NBC next Sunday. The motorsports season is not over if you like road racing. Black flag, is that for Kyffin Simpson? Yep. Yeah, wing issue there.
Your front wing, Kyffin. Box is flat, box.
Same issue, and race control applying the same penalty. Kyffin doing a really nice job getting out of the way of that battle behind him, knowing he has to box with that wing issue. They don't do pit stops in Indy NXT like they do in IndyCar, so this is just going to put him at the back of the field, and really sporting from Kyffin Simpson. That will earn him a lot of respect amongst his colleagues.
Copy, boss.
And there's Christian Rasmussen, and the gap is 12 seconds on the way to his 5th win of the season. And here's why I think that number is somewhat notable. There's been so much conversation, rightfully so, about Linus Lundqvist, how much he deserved an opportunity, and he didn't have it at the beginning of the year. And now, as we wait,
there's second.
There he is. He's going to have that chance next year in a primo seat with Chip Ganassi Racing. Well, Christian Rasmussen has won the same number of races as Linus Lundqvist did last year, 5. That's not a direct comparison. Every year is a little bit different. But Christian Rasmussen is going to win championships at all 3 levels, 3 scholarships to advance his career.
Really taking advantage of that scholarship, and it's something that the U.S. ladder system works really well at, is developing young drivers, not only as racing drivers, but also as commercial salesmen, so to speak. They develop the packages, they have scholarships, there are requirements and commitments for those scholarships, and they go out and are able to do that and build on that to build into a program for long-term future competitive seats in IndyCar.
You don't think Rasmussen has been unleashed today? He has fastest lap by about 4/10.
I saw him right before the race and told him to have fun and enjoy being a champion. And he said, winning's always fun.
You want to look at some other big seasons in recent years from guys that have made it to IndyCar. David Malukas won 7 races in 21. How many did Kyle Kirkwood win that year? He would have maybe won 8. Somehow that my list. Oliver Askew.
He won 10 races
in the same year. Not in the same year. He won 10? Wow. Askew won 7 in 19, and Paddle Award won 9 races according to what I'm seeing in 18.
And I was going through the IndyCar starting grid from today. Obviously, Linus Lundqvist moving into that Chip Ganassi Racing seat next year will be another one. But over half the IndyCar grid has competed in Indy NXT, Indy Lights, the previous name, for this final step before IndyCar. It is such a good proving ground. When you have over half the grid moving up into IndyCar, it is proof that this ladder series works.
We're down to a couple of laps remaining in 2023. Schedule will be out, well, once we have an IndyCar schedule. You're going to get maybe a little nugget later on today.
So make sure you tune in to the NTT IndyCar race live on NBC and here on Peacock.
But I don't think the full schedule is coming out for a little while. There's some things to be buttoned up. So obviously the Indy NXT schedule would come out potentially with that or shortly after that for next season. So we'll see what we have in store for 2024.
I love that onboard going with Christian Rasmussen onboard through the corkscrew. You just see how challenging and how the sightlines, even with that camera well above the driver's helmet, you still can't see the racetrack as he's coming to see the white flag. Quite literally a victory lap here for Christian Rasmussen.
All right, one more perfect lap here. Put another 1.5 seconds on them. That's 16.5 right now.
Encouragement that he's got 16.5 second lead and they want more from him.
Well, his last lap was 1.6 seconds faster than Hunter McElroy, 1.3 faster than Louis Foster, a second faster than Matthew Brabham.
Christian Rasmussen is feeling himself as a champion today. What an incredible drive all season. Was smart, was poised, was mature, and leaves WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca as this year's Indy NXT by Firestone champion.
Through the corkscrew one last time. Christian Rasmussen is coming up close to lap traffic. He won a championship and a scholarship in USF 2000. In Indy Pro, now USF Pro 2000. Year number 2 at this level. Christian Rasmussen is a champion. He's going to do it in style. Win number 5 on the season. Rasmussen wraps up the season in victory lane, celebrating a championship and a scholarship to move to IndyCar. Rasmussen wins at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca.
We're the champions! Woo!
And there's second place Hunter McElroy, third place Louis Foster, Andretti Autosport rounding out the podium for today.
Thank you so much to everyone involved in this year. The team, HFD Motorsport.
So Christian Rasmussen came by us on that last lap, I think in about third gear to celebrate with his team, and he still ran the fastest lap of the 2 cars behind him was still faster than those guys. Won by nearly 18 seconds. What a coronation day for Christian Rasmussen.
Well, you may have the trophy before everybody gets back to pit lane. Well done, Rasmussen, part of the Scandinavian invasion in IndyCar. And we didn't talk about that a couple of days ago. He said it's nice. He's been in America for several years now, but to see some familiarity, and the one that he's bonded with the most here in the last couple of years is Christian Lundgaard. They grew up together a bit, spent some time together. Only one race on the same kart team. They raced together a little bit, but they trained together some. And with Team Denmark, got to know each other. And that's one of the guys that he goes to, like on a weekend like this. Proper donuts coming.
Sunday morning donuts for Christian Rasmussen, our champion.
You know, the Andretti drivers can go to other Andretti drivers at IndyCar and get some tips. HMD does have some help with David Malukas, but he can go to people like Lundgaard. He has a good relationship with Marcus Ericsson and Felix Rosenqvist, so he gets to now join them. He won't be the first Christian or the first Dane in IndyCar or even the first winner, but he is the second and likely coming next year. Here's how they finished in the final race of the season.
Great job for Matthew Brabham. We talked about the podium already. Matthew Brabham coming home 4th as that super sub for Junkos Hollinger Racing. Jacob Abel consolidating after yesterday's argy-bargy, coming home 5th. Nolan Siegel able to consolidate that 3rd in the championship with his 7th place. Ernie Francis always moves forward in races. We see some of the rookies getting experience. Kiko Porto, Jamie Chadwick continuing to develop. You know, Kiffin Simpson and PZ with those front wing issues today.
Let's look at official, or actually should say unofficial, final points standings as we have them right now. Christian Rasmussen, 65 is the margin on McElray. Siegel gets 3rd, Foster, Abel, top 5, Frost, Rowe, Gold, Francis Jr., and Simpson, top 10 in 2023. And now all eyes on the winner and the new champ, who's done this now 3 times in the last 4 years.
It is official, Christian Rasmussen, your 2023 Indy NXT by Firestone champion, and he does it in style. He's going to hold up his native flag. The smile is contagious. 5 wins on the season, led the most laps, most top 10s, and now it's official. Christian Rasmussen, 2023 Indy NXT by Firestone champion, and you did it in style. How joyous and lengthy was that race, knowing that when you got out of this car, you were going to celebrate with your team as a champion?
It was great. You know, as soon as I rolled over the start line, got the green flag, I knew I was champion. So from there on out, it was just pure enjoyment. You know, my last Indy NXT race, I just wanted to enjoy it. And I think I checked all the boxes, fastest lap, quite the margin at the end, good management of the race. In terms of pace, you could see how fast I was at the end as well. So I'm just so happy. We're champions.
Like I said, 5 wins, most laps led, most top 10s. You take us on a journey through this season. What kind of an effort did it take to get to this spot right now?
I mean, it's a huge effort, not only from myself, but also from all the people that I have behind me. You know, we've been working hard in the gym. We've been working hard off the outside of the track to, secure the budget to even compete this year. We went into this year without a full budget and just been able to continue because of HMD working with me with payment plans and stuff like that. And then our investors that has come in and saved me multiple times. So I cannot thank Jan Poulsen, West Circle, all of my investors that's on the car, even those that are kind of like in the dark. I appreciate you guys so much. My family have been with me all the way. My friends, my girlfriend, everyone. I couldn't have done it without you.
Hey, congratulations. We have a very important piece of hardware to give you. Levi Jones, race director for Indy NXT by Firestone. Oh, and a hug from friend Christian Lundgaard. So proud of his friend. They grew up together, racing together, and now they're back in this open wheel circuit. Levi Jones, race director with Indy NXT by Firestone, and Rick Rothberg with Firestone to hand him the official Indy NXT by Firestone championship trophy. Christian Rasmussen, your 2023 champion. How neat. Kevin, Charlie.
So cool, Charlie. I know this probably hits home with you more than it does the rest of us.
Having been in this championship and not been an Indy NXT champion myself, seeing that success, that smile for not just Christian Rasmussen, but the whole HMD Motorsports. They grew so much this year, going from a few cars to a lot of cars, and we're able to manage that so well. Great job to the team, great job to Christian, your series champion.
Thank you to everyone for joining us in what's been a fantastic season, the return of Firestone, new branding, Indy NXT by Firestone. Can't wait for 2024. Thank you to Georgia Hinneberry. Thank you to Charlie Kimball, everyone on our production staff as well. Stay tuned. IndyCar is coming up, 2:30 Eastern, 3:25 green flag from WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca.